overregulation, and higher taxes.
Congressman Ted Budd beating out former Chief Justice Cheri Beasley in one of the most competitive elections in the country.
And going blue, Democrat Jeff Jackson picking up a seat in Congress.
A new district is an opportunity for a new start, for a new generation.
And a big night for bonds. Charlotte voters approving more money for everything from roads to homes. But will you pay more in taxes? We verify.
Dry weather across the area today before big changes over the next 24 to 48 hours.
All that plus late-breaking details about an illness forcing several local schools to close.
The latest from here in the Queen City and across the country. A special edition of Wake Up Charlotte starts right now.
You're watching Wake Up Charlotte, Decision 2022.
And a good Wednesday morning to all our folks out there watching Wake Up Charlotte to go. 7:36 in the morning. Live pictures right now over the Queen City on this morning after the election. A lot to catch up on with votes getting counted late into the overnight hours. More than 5 million people casting a ballot here in the Carolinas alone.
Well, one of the big races called the battle for North Carolina's U.S. Senate. Ted Budd pulling out a win, but the balance of power in Washington still hangs in the balance.
From Charleston to Charlotte, from Raleigh to Washington, our Wake Up Charlotte to Go team spread out, bringing you the latest results on all the races up and down the ballot.
So this morning we want to know, how are you feeling after the election? Leave a comment below, or you can text us 704-329-3600. But we'll be reading your comments below coming up at the end of our live stream.
All right, back to that big story from overnight. Republicans winning a big race here in the Tar Heel State. Ted Budd projected to replace outgoing Senator Richard Burr.
So the congressman defeats Democrat Cheri Beasley in a vicious fight playing out in a debate and television ads for months. Wake Up Charlotte to Go's Richard Devane has more on the breaking development. Richard, Ted Budd winning by a 3-point margin.
Absolutely correct. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning all. Yeah, Budd was even out campaigning in the last seconds around the state, including stops like Iredell County, saying that he didn't want to take any chances. And in the end, that's what won out for him. As we take a look at some video, we can tell you that basically last night there was some cheers and smiles for Cheri Beasley, but it wasn't the result that she wanted. A more somber night for her. She unfortunately was not able to do what she thought she was going to do. She had talked about her grassroots efforts going out into communities and trying to get as many rural votes as possible. In the end, it was Ted Budd who was able to continue to bring out his base. He was able to secure this victory. Last night, both candidates spoke about what they believe is most important, that is keeping North Carolina first.
Regardless of the result, I remain resolved to fight for our beloved state. Because North Carolina is worth fighting for.
Tonight's victory is a humbling moment for me. It's a tremendous privilege to be able to serve you, and serving others is what my family's always been about.
And Budd also spoke about the need to get America back on track. He said it's time for this country to get back on track and to defeat the Biden agenda. One thing he did say about Cheri Beasley, he congratulated her for having what he called leading a spirited campaign. Of course, when I asked him yesterday in Mooresville what he plans to do, when does he plan to rest, he said he really didn't know. But I'm sure hopefully today he'll have a chance to rest as he's now the senator-elect for the state of North Carolina. Back to you.
All right, Richard. Here's hoping those candidates and their campaigns get plenty of rest starting today. It's been a long year or so.
Yes, it has. And there are some other, of course, major congressional races we want to get you caught up on. First up, Democrats winning the brand new 14th district here in North Carolina. State Senator Jeff Jackson defeating Pat Harrigan. The new district makes up southern Mecklenburg County and a good portion of Gaston County. Jackson beating Harrigan by 15 points. And just north in the 12th district, Democrat Alma Adams with a clean victory. She beat out Republican Tyler Lee by about 25 points. This election marks her 5th successful re-election bid.
Now to South Carolina, where Republicans pulled out 2 big statewide wins. Governor McMaster staying in the governor's mansion and Tim Scott heading back to Washington.
Indira Esquiva has more on Scott's win for the U.S. Senate, but let's begin with Austin Walker with the McMaster campaign.
Yeah, hey, Ben and Sarah, a very happy time for South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster reclaiming his spot as the Palmetto State Governor, defeating Democratic challenger Joe Cunningham. Now, this is a historic win for the state of South Carolina. If he completes this second term, McMaster would serve as governor for 10 years, longer than any other executive in the state's history.
But we're on a good track right now. South Carolina's booming, and we're going to keep on booming.
Now, this is not the only race WCNC Charlotte is following from the Palmetto State. Our Indira Esquiva is in Charleston following the win. Tim Scott pulled out. We continue our coverage from Charleston.
Yeah, Senator Tim Scott had a good night here at the Charleston Place Hotel. His race was called literally minutes after polls closed at 7 p.m. here in South Carolina, showing that he defeated his Democratic opponent, Crystal Matthews. Unofficial results show he will serve as senator for at least another 6 years. According to the AP, this may be the last time Scott serves as senator, as he does not plan to run again. That leaves many wondering, will he run for president? Scott did not give a clear answer during his speech. He did, though, voice support for police officers, as well as building a wall at the southern border. In Charleston, Indira Esquiva, Wake Up Charlotte.
And again, folks, we are asking you this morning, what is your reaction to the election results as they've unfolded last night and this morning? Right now, we want to drill down on some of these numbers. First up, the big race for U.S. Senate here in North Carolina. You can see Ted Budd winning by nearly 51% of the vote. You can see, though, in this map that Cheri Beasley won pretty decisively in all the urban areas across the state. When you drill down, though, county by county, you start to see what went wrong and what could have been possibly the issue. I'm trying to pull up Anson County, but it won't let me. Stand by. That's why it's fun that we're in Wake Up Charlotte to go. And I don't have to worry about a commercial break. Okay, well, it's not letting me do that, but you take a look at numbers like in Anson County, and you see where Ted Budd actually won. And that is a county that typically in the past has been a Democratic stronghold. Joe Biden won it, Hillary Clinton won it, Barack Obama won it. And then even going back to the last Senate race there in 2016, Deborah Ross won that, and Cheri Beasley did not. So it's counties like that that probably her campaign is looking at this morning and wondering what went wrong. Some of the congressional races we've talked about here in the Charlotte area, Patrick McHenry winning decisively, 73% of the vote there. District 11, this is Madison Cawthorn's seat. Chuck Edwards winning there. This covers Asheville and the Western Mountains. Really the only big swing district here in North Carolina, just south of Raleigh, talking about places like Holly Springs and Smithfield. And that was Wiley Nickel coming out on top against political newcomer Bo Hines. This is Ted Budd's old congressional district. So a lot of people surprised by that outcome. And what this also means is wider picture for the state of North Carolina right now. For the first time in modern history, I checked that stat with a political analyst this morning. This means that North Carolina now has an even number, Republicans versus Democrats, in our House congressional delegation in D.C. And that matters because we're a purple state. And so instead of having 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats or vice versa, we now have 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans. So we have a bit more representative government representing us up in D.C. Let's take about the wider view. And I'm going to head on over to this other monitor when we're talking about the balance of power in D.C., because we know how things turned out here, but that's not necessarily all decided across the country. At this hour, control still up for grabs. In the Senate, as you can see, 36 seats voted on last night. As of this morning, the Senate split at 48. We're still waiting on 4 more races. One big race, John Fetterman, that's up in Pennsylvania, beating Dr. Oz. That had been a Republican seat. Pat Toomey, he's retiring. Democrats now winning that over. So they only need 50 seats to keep power, because keep in mind, Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker. Republicans, though, they need 51 to take control. So they're still holding out hope this morning that they can get to that 51 number. Over in the House, let's talk about the House. A lot still up for grabs as well. Magic number there, 218. Right now, Republicans have 199 seats. I must say also, this also depends on what news organization you talk to. These numbers change just a little bit depending on what races they've declared. Democrats just over 25 seats behind them. And as you can see, there's still a lot of waiting to be done for those House races. Republicans, though, only needing to pick up 5 to take control of that chamber. A lot of folks think they can probably do that, even though this has not at all been a red wave as many anticipated. Does look like in several key races, Republicans did pretty well overnight. Sarah.
All right, Ben, thank you. Of course, our team coverage continues now with some big changes coming to your school districts across the area. So first up in Clover, the $156 million bond referendum will cover the construction of a new high school. Meanwhile, Union County voters also approving some big changes. Wake Up Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard joins us live. And Tradisha, Union County says this $134 million bond was needed to renovate some old schools there.
That's right, Sarah. And one of the schools they're hoping to renovate is East Elementary School. They say that it's about 70 years old, and they're hoping to basically demolish that old building and replace it with a new two-story facility.
Union County voters approved $134 million in school bonds. They say the money will help upgrade and replace the aging facilities they have.
Over the course of 60 years, you get sort of almost like a Frankenstein kind of feel to a building because it's got so many additional things added to it over time.
The district says East Elementary School's original building is 70 years old, while Forest Hills High School's current building is 60 years old. They're planning to demolish the East Elementary School building and replace it with a new two-story facility on the same property. The new Forest Hills High School building will be a two-story facility as well.
It'll build a lot of morale among our students and our staff, but also it'll make our community be very proud of Forest Hills High School that they have that newer facility.
Now, the Clover School District also approved a second high school, so the superintendent is expecting that school to be open in 2026. Reporting live in Indian Trail, Tradisha Woodard, Wake Up Charlotte.
Tradisha, thank you. Of course, we will keep you posted as these results continue to unfold over the next few days, and, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have the latest coming up at 11:30 over on WCNC TV. In the meantime, have a great day. We'll see you back here again tomorrow morning for another edition of Wake Up Charlotte to Go.